This is the only bay cuttings that actually came back to life in the spring, and a couple of weeks ago it had some signs of life, so I decided to have a nosy and check the roots out. Didn't seem to have much in the way of roots, so I thought I better not mess with it and put it back in the pot, and it seems to have kept going and got nice new healthy leaves coming out. So these are the old leaves, and these are these three big leaves, the front and the new leaves. So it's obviously taken and it's coming up. So I'm pleased with that. All I needed was one bay tree and I've got it, so I'm happy with that. The asparagus is doing okay. I mean, you can see that one's doing fine. These are doing fine. Some are just peaking. So they're ready to go out. What I'm going to do is put these out into the cold frame with just a net to protect against pigeons. But later on I will pull the weeds out. I mean, this one, the weeds are, you know, there's a little bit of asparagus on there, but a lot of weeds, so I'll sort those out later, but I'll get them out so they can acclimatise. We're nowhere near an airport and there's always planes flying overhead. I've got to sort out some of this stuff in pots because it's looking a bit peaky, so I'll water things and feed things. And this one is doing fine, so it's obviously not the cold, but this one is really suffering. You can see it's all yellow and narrow. The new growth is fine. I mean, that is okay, but we'll see. I brought in some more stuff that needs potting up, but I've got nowhere to put them until I've turfed out the asparagus. The leeks and the figs and the goji berries have been turfed out of the greenhouse already. I mean, this one is coming out, this one is obviously fine, that one is coming out, budding out. This one may or may not be, and this one also seems to be coming out, but I might cut my losses and pull the ones like this one out, because this one is obviously good. I only need one good healthy fig, so take the others out. I might just pull this one out and leave that one, and then that way I don't disturb the roots of this one, and do the same with this one. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Yeah, that one didn't have any roots on it anyway. This one looks like it's got some sort of life, but I think, seeing as this is a nice healthy one next to it, I'm going to sacrifice this one. Yeah, it's only had a tiny little roots on it, so yeah. So we'll sacrifice these two. They're outside, so they'll be fine. A load of pallets arrived, and are really good solid pallets, and all the same size, which is very unusual. And they're good for compost bins because you can see the width is by the width of my finger between the pieces, so they're solid. There's 4 pieces going across, so they're really solid. When you compare that to what we normally get, where there's a big gap between the pieces and then there's only 3 pieces, so obviously these aren't as strong and they won't last as long. And they're not quite as good for compost because obviously I've got to fill these gaps with something before I put them in, whereas these are perfect and they're the right height. In fact, they're a little bit shorter, as you can see. They're a little bit shorter than these, so that's perfect. But getting those in and bringing them down is sort of taking a bit of my energy for today. We're getting a skip in a couple of weeks, so I've brought a load of these plastic containers that I had at home. These used to be used for recycling plastic. The council used to come and collect these every week, and then they went to a 2-weekly collection and they gave us bigger bins, and they didn't want these back, so everybody was trying to get rid of them. And of course, me being me, I said, oh, don't get rid of them, I'll have them, I'll find a use for them. It's only taken 3 years, but I found a use for them finally. The weeds are taking advantage of all the hedges that are cut back. They've seen daylight and they're rushing to make use of it, but I will clear those out. But before I do that, I need to decant all of the nettle and weed seed that I've got in these barrels first, so that I've got room for all the new weeds. And look at this, this is where the asparagus is supposed to go, and this gooseberry's in the wrong place. Oh, it's never ending, isn't it? It's never ending. Somebody was getting rid of his polytunnel. Now they are flimsy, they're a bit too flimsy to be used for a polytunnel because they just break after a couple of years, so he wanted to get rid of that. It's a bit too flimsy for a polytunnel, but it's strong enough for a brassica cage, So he's given me most of the pieces. He's kept some of the straight pieces because he'll use them for something else. So I haven't got every piece, but I've got enough to make something out of it. So I will do that. Yep. You have caught the little bastard. Bring him out here so you can have a look. Right. Well, he's going to be sleeping with the fishes. Yeah. Big fat rat. It's big and fat on all my potatoes. Right, you little bugger. You're going to die. Well, that's a big fat rat. At least that's dinner sorted. I think I'll make rat au vin. And as vegetables to go with it, it's got to be ratatouille. Well, the little furry blighter got his comeuppance. I didn't get a chance to sort out the main coal frame, so what I've done, just to harden off seedlings, I've got this spare bath and I've put some netting on top of it, and we shouldn't be getting any more frosts. But if we do, I can always put a couple of pieces of corrugated plastic. I've got plenty of them here on top of this other bath, but it's just there for storage. So if necessary, I can put a couple of those sheets on top of this bath and let it stay warm. We shouldn't be getting any killing frosts anymore, so I don't think it'll be necessary. But I'm prepared. After 2 years of running behind, I'm actually getting to the stage where I'm prepared. Right, the greenhouse is looking a bit tidier and more like a greenhouse and not a warehouse. Started putting stuff up. All the tomatoes are in now. These subarctic plenties will go out into a low tunnel later. I've just got the trivial task of building the low tunnel, but that's easy enough to do. And all the others are in their pots, and the peppers, etc., need potting up soon. And some of this stuff, like the celery, it can go out now and be planted. Some of these celeries, what I will do is I will plant into pots and bring them in late September, early October, before the first frosts, and see how long I can keep them going. And I will be doing the same with the Swiss chard, and I've got some perpetual spinach here as well. I will put them into small pots, and that will keep them small, so I will get young leaves for salads through the winter. Obviously not a huge crop, but a few odd leaves to keep going through the winter. The stuff under netting is holding up well, and everything in this bath is looking okay. So these are going up to the other plot. I've cleared off the nettles that were here and here. There's still quite a bit left around here. I've cleared most of the stuff around this edge, but the problem is the nettle barrel is absolutely full. I can't get any more in, so I need a bigger barrel, and the situation is very similar with the weed barrel, so I need another weed barrel or a bigger one. Now I will have this barrel, but at the moment it's got rubbish in it till Saturday when the skip comes, and I've cleared all the wood and rubbish from this corner and around the plot. I put it into these boxes and there is rather a lot of it all lined up and ready outside my plot, so that come the weekend I can take it to the edge where my finger is and then put it in the car park. So this is the corner. Once I get this plot holder's permission, which shouldn't be a problem, I'll bring my stuff here on Saturday. But this is the car park and that's where the skip comes. But naughty people have brought their rubbish and I've dumped it here and expect somebody else to clear this mess up. That is well naughty. That is really naughty. When the skips arrive, they get filled quickly. I'm trying to get organised so that I don't have to go back to the allotment for every item. If everything is close to the car park, I can get my rubbish loaded onto the skips faster.